Good morning. Rise and shine. Grab your coffee or poison. And thank you for joining the Victors Nation. Myself, Derek McCarty. Dre Fame is MIA right now, so someone could call him. That'd be tight. Make sure you like, comment to chat with us, and subscribe to our YouTube channel right now if you have not. We'll remind you guys middle towards the end of the pod as well too. Also, subscribe to Apple Podcasts, Spotify for you audio folks. Seems like games, Derek, don't really matter to Ohio State unless they win.
Right.
Congrats to Indiana winning the Big Ten championship for the third time in their existence, last two in 45 and 1967. Ohio State fans, please do not pick 13 and 10 for your lottery numbers. Seems to be like an unlucky pair. Coach Signetti, 2 seasons at the helm. He is him. I know we got some other stuff to talk about, but man, solid coach. He's done a great job with that program. But we are talking additions and changes we want to see during this offseason for the football program at Michigan, recruiting, basketball, and hockey mentions. Lots of attractive topics. Derek, take it away, man.
Yeah, happy Sunday. Always, I guess, a consolation prize to us Michigan fans when Ohio State doesn't win the Big Ten. So, like you said, kudos to Indiana. Good program. That team really
Yeah.
reminds me a lot of what Michigan looked like in 2023. It's not a star-studded roster based off of recruiting rankings on paper. It's just a very well-coached team that executes well,
Yes.
and plays extremely hard and understands situational football. They're a fun
Yep.
team to watch. They're a fun team to watch. But let's dive into what we have to talk about with Michigan. Let's start. So biggest topic right now, I think, with Michigan football is what are we filling the cupboard with? And signing day just finished up. 27 signees
Yep.
coming here. I think 17 that already are enrolling early. But let's talk a little bit about this recruiting class. So I'll be honest, it's a little bit challenging right now for me, at least, to be super excited about where recruiting rankings end up, because there's nothing anymore that holds these classes together. Where a handful of years ago, it used to be exciting. You used to see some guys and be excited to see how they develop over the course of 3, 4, 5 years. And
Yep.
now that with the transfer portal, the way teams are rebuilt immediately via the transfer portal, and the way that these kids kind of filter themselves out via the transfer portal, it's hard to be fully excited. But with some of the top end recruits in the class, I feel like this is a pretty exciting class. So we finished. If you look at the 24/7 composite rankings, we're ranked number 11, and really it's definitely a typical top 5 to top 10 type class that we're bringing in. If you look at the rankings and the scores, there's not a I think there's a bigger difference between where we are at number 11 to number 12 than there is to number 5. So it just kind of shows how condensed and how close those teams that
Yes.
are 6 through 11 are in the recruiting rankings. But
And it's your Penn
some
State at 150th, but
yeah, well, we
wasn't that
actually,
wasn't a good firing at the time, but yeah.
yeah, I want to say that, yeah, that stinks for Penn State for sure. But they'll rebuild. I mean, we'll probably talk about
At
this.
some point, yeah.
Campbell has been one of my top coach candidates for several years, to if we are bringing in a head coach, a guy that I would want, that I really liked. So him going to Penn State, I think, is a solid hire for them. I think he's going to do well there. But
It's
looking at
probably
the
the only. It's probably like the only higher option they really had, though. Too.
yeah,
I mean, they waited a little late, but yeah, we'll talk more about it with recruiting. A lot of
yeah,
recruiting talk this offseason.
Yeah, but I mean, we got a pair of 5 stars in this class with Carter Meadows and
Yep.
Savion Hiter. I know that there was some concern about Hiter come Wednesday when he didn't sign until Thursday
Yeah.
morning, but uh, uh, there would have been a time where Hyder was probably the number one ranked recruit in the class, but because running backs are devalued a little bit, he's not. But I think, I mean, a game changer to have on the field. I would imagine that he's probably going to push for reps right away as a true freshman. Um, he's
Oh
probably
yeah.
going to be somebody that drives a couple, one or two players out via the transfer portal, but he's going to be a game changer to bring in. Carter Meadows
Yep.
coming in right away. I think coming off of the edge, being able to bring in he was ranked number 6 nationally, so a top 10 recruit nationally. Our defensive line really, I feel like, didn't live up to the standard this year as far as the pressure that they brought. And granted, he's only going to be a true freshman, so how much of an impact is he going to have on that next year as a true freshman? Unknown, but I would imagine with some turnover that we're gonna have on the edges, I would
Yeah.
imagine that he's gonna push
We
for some reps right away too.
we need Portal hard there. I mean, we'll talk more about it in a little bit, but yeah, that is a focal point for sure.
Yeah. Travis Johnson, I think, is someone that I'm excited about coming in at receiver. I know
Yeah.
you're excited about him too.
Oh yeah.
Brady Marchese, I think, was a good flip. I mean, a speedster through and through. So targeted some good help in the pipeline behind Andrew Marsh at the receiver position. Malachi Lee is someone that he's probably the person I'm most excited about in this class. Offensive tackle from Hawaii. I think
Yes.
that uh, I just he looks like he's gonna bring a nasty streak with him and continue to backfill what has been a good couple recruiting classes on the offensive line. Now we just gotta develop those guys a little bit. But I thought overall a pretty good recruiting haul. The one position group that wasn't really addressed at all, and it's okay because it was our deepest position group this year, was the linebacker position. We didn't do a whole lot to very very abnormally active in recruiting linebackers in this cycle. That's a position that we've recruited really well for a very long time. So interesting there. I don't know if it wasn't prioritized or I don't know if we just missed this cycle. It's hard to say. But what are some of your thoughts looking at this recruiting class? Some guys that you're excited about?
Yeah. So I'm excited about Titan Davis. I mean, defensive line is going to have to be a focal point for the transfer portal. Like I said, it has to, especially on the edge. That is like the number one concern for me, besides a veteran or one or two experienced wide receivers. But Titan Davis is a guy I'm excited about. Carter Meadows, you mentioned him. He's going to be a freak. He's going to get his minutes for sure. Absolutely. Savion Hiter as well too. Man, it sucks talking about running backs because it's like the expectations of Haynes and Marshall. If we were to be healthy, maybe that game goes a little bit different. We probably still lose, but regardless, it would have been excited to see them healthy. Now, if Haynes comes back, Marshall will still be there, and Hyder. I mean, again, back to back years with the best running back room in the country. I mean, that is going to give opponents some nightmares for sure. If we have them three and Haynes comes back, miss out on Zion Robinson. So I know we got to talk to him, talk a little bit about him as well too. Flip to Stanford. Is that because of Brady Marquise? I don't know. Brady Marquise was a guy I was looking at last frickin' spring, and I was pissed that he stayed at that he was going to commit to Georgia. That guy is freakishly fast. So we missed out on Zion Robinson. I get it, but Brady Marquise, he is going to be an absolute beast. He's going to get playing time. Travis Johnson is going to get playing time as well too. Almost poached from Virginia Tech, but we got him to sign as well. Um, but missed out on Julian Walker as well too. Committed since June, I believe. I mean, his dad's the strength and conditioning coach. Jim probably would have got his dad to come to Michigan because Justin Trush. I know we're going to talk about maybe some staff changes, which we already got one on our special teams coach, but I don't know. That was a miss that we kind of needed. I would have liked to see Julian Walker at Michigan, but it is what it is. His dad's the SNC coordinator at South Carolina, so he ended up there. But yes, Cardinal Meadows, Savion, um, Calvin Russell. I think he ended up signing with Syracuse. To be honest, I really wanted that guy, but at the same time, I don't know. Does he fit a culture, our culture as a football program? I'm not really sure. But I think the most player I'm excited about, and I'm going to mention him again, is Brady Marquise. I'm excited about him. Cardinal Meadows, Savion Hiter, that's going to be everyone's option, but Brady Marquise is going to be an absolute stud for us
Well,
next year.
I
We
think
got
he's
some
the reason.
yeah.
I think he's the reason
Probably
that
the
Zion
reason
Robinson flipped.
Zion He's probably the reason Zion flipped. It probably had something definitely to do to that. I know Stanford's got some money with Andrew Luck kind of floating in right now, but if people want to say, well, why would you come here? We don't pass the ball. You know what? I get it, but just kind of shut up. Like, it really, in this situation, it really had nothing to do with that with him. So, Brady Marquise, man, that's my guy. I think he's like, you want to call him like a Wes Welker or like Danny Amendola or anything like that, but he's got some fucking wheels on him for sure. Um, and if maybe we get lucky, star in the rough, right? Like Andrew Marsh came out of nowhere, got a ton of minutes, got a ton of playing time. Wide receiver number one, McCulley is ineligible. He's done. Probably didn't utilize him the best this year. Had a bad season, but if we can get Brady Marquise and Travis Johnson up to speed, I mean, who knows? We might get lucky. Still inexperienced. We still need to have a focal point of getting a wide receiver in the transfer portal for experience. I would say probably. I would say probably two. Um, but yeah, that's mine with recruiting.
Yeah, I think we had another hopefully eventually impactful flip with Jamarian Vincent, who
Yes.
we got in on late. I'm pretty sure that he came on a visit for the game and decommitted then from Baylor, where he was committed, and he committed here. He's got to put some meat on his bones. 6'2", 165 pounds is what his recruiting profile has. So he's probably a couple years away from getting on the field and playing, just because, I mean, can't be out there at 6'2", 165 pounds playing against some of
I'm a little jealous at
the
my
guys.
age. I kind of want to weigh that much right now. I just don't have the motivation for it. Yeah, I can't wait to
um,
see him on the field. Hell yeah, dude. I think Nick is referring to Marquise, Brady Marquise.
yeah,
And then he also won $200 on Ohio State losing. Love it.
yeah.
We'll get into basketball too, but my buddy Kurt actually won some money on the basketball game when we were for a 25-point lead. So I'm like, damn, you should have took that at the first half because that was exactly what it was, 25 points. But yeah, go
Yeah,
blue, Nick.
it and you were talking defensive line, and even with Julian
Yeah,
Walker decommitting and switching, I feel like we kind of knew that that was potentially something that could
he
happen.
was for
Um,
sure up there. Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
but still, we're looking at Carter Meadows, Mikhail Blade. We're looking
Yeah,
at
him too. Him
Titan
too.
Davis and Alistair
Mm-hmm.
Vallejo. Alistair Vallejo, people that have been doing scouting are making comparisons to Mason Graham, with the type of player that he is on the interior. That's a little
Does
extreme,
he
but
kind
if
of look like
he
him a little bit?
he's got similar build,
Does he look
yeah,
like? Yeah, kind of
yeah.
in the face. Kind of the face too. A little bit.
But that's a good defensive line haul. That defensive line group is
Yes.
probably going to be our starting defensive line at some point in time. Now, if Wink stays as the defensive coordinator for the long term, they'll be irrationally substituted in and out throughout the course of the
Yep.
game. But it's a good defensive line
It's
haul.
in rotations, man. I think it is a very good defensive line haul and edge haul, but we're gonna get into some changes. We're gonna get into the portal as well too. But man, we need some experience. We need some experience there. Like this defense thrives on a good pass rush.
Yeah. Absolutely, it does. It depends.
Hmm.
That has been the identity of our defense for a long time, has
Yeah.
been our ability to rush the passer. And you saw yesterday, you saw last night in the game how impactful it is to be able to put like especially against Ohio State, to put pressure on the quarterback and to get some hits on the quarterback.
It's on the
That's
quarterback
something
and
that's,
stop the run at like 58 yards as well too.
yeah,
I mean, that would have been our game. It's just we saw it once in the Maryland game, and that
was,
was
yeah,
pretty much it. So like yes, we got a lot of young talent coming on the defensive line. Edge is going to be an absolute crucial point to get experience though.
yeah,
We gotta hit the portal hard this year because let's be honest, we're
have
gonna
to.
be a young team next year, especially on offense. I'm not really worried about our offensive line. Not really worried about that position group. I mean, I would like to see some maybe more experience, but if we stay healthy, Babalola, Haywood, Evan Link, I mean, we got some experience there yet. Young
Yes.
line, but they're still going to be good, especially with the three. If Hayes comes back with the potential 2 to 3 running backs that we're going to have as well too, and Hiter
Yeah.
Marshall for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that the transfer portal is going to be huge. So recruiting
Yeah,
class is great, but what's more impactful is what are we going to do to address our immediate needs for next year, and that's going to come via the transfer portal, and
and
that's where,
coaching too,
right, coaching needs as
staff
well, which
changes.
we had one this week with JB Brown being let go. We talked about that last week. That I don't know how he would be able to continue with that role
Yeah,
after this season. And we made a pretty, in my opinion, a pretty good hire to backfill that
yeah.
position. We at least brought somebody that has a ton of coaching experience in, instead of having a number of individuals on the coaching staff that are learning how to coach, which I think is borderline
Big
unacceptable at a
issue,
program
right?
like us.
Yeah, this isn't a developmental in program, right?
Right.
Like we got to get some.
Exactly.
We talk about the portal to get experience, which we desperately need at certain position groups, but it's the same thing with the staff as well too. So are we going to see some more changes? Yeah, probably. But yeah, we hired Kerry Combs, got fired at Ohio State, defensive coordinator. Probably had some issues at Cincinnati as well too, being special teams coordinator, but he's a culture guy. He's a good recruiter at the same time, and we're probably going to punt further than 11 yards as well too, Derek. So that's pretty exciting.
Yes, and we probably would make a change at some point in time in the season when we are netting negative yards in the punt return game by not fielding a punt at all. So that was just, our special teams was just absolutely awful, really, for the last 2 years. One thing that saved it was the ability of Zavada last year, not this year, but last year, made special teams look a little bit better than they actually were. But special teams, we got accustomed to, and this is going to tie back to the Jim Harbaugh era, but Jim Harbaugh always considered special teams a third of the game, and he put an emphasis for years. You saw guys like Jabril Peppers and basically the Mike Barrett's, right? You saw some of the best special teams players on the field all the time, blocking punts, not giving up returns. It was great. It was an area of emphasis and pride, and that's not what it was. So when it comes to coaching changes, that is a big one right there, because it might not be a third of the game in the number of plays, but I can't think of a time where we were ever able to gain control of field position when we had an opportunity to flip the field on somebody, because we would get an 11-yard punt or a 25-yard punt or something
Yeah, like
stupid.
yeah, a 30-yard punt, and then even punt returning too. I think Andrew Marsh like broke um Samaj Morgan's record or whatever too, in like just in one
Well,
game. Just in one
yeah,
game at like
one
20
game you
to
had more
25
yards. Yeah.
20 to 25 yard return. Like that
Yeah.
has to be flipped. Like ask Ohio State, special teams is pretty important.
Yes. Yes. uh,
Just saying.
but as far as hitting the transfer portal goes, I mean,
Yeah.
I think we need immediately, we need some impact players on the defensive line. I think that
Yep.
that is a position group that we immediately need to be willing to spend some money on. and receiver. I think that those are the two areas we need to go, and we need some NIL supporters ready to open up their checkbooks, because
Yes.
we have a 5-star. It's not very often that we're able to bring in a 5-star quarterback. We just historically, that hasn't been what Michigan does. Other programs do it year after year. Michigan does it like once a decade. And so being able to bring in a 5-star quarterback that now has a year starting under his belt,
Yes.
we've got to surround him
We
with some
can't.
weapons, and we've
We
got to
cannot waste
put the
any
game
more.
on his back.
Yes. We can't waste any more time. We can't waste any more of his talent. Next year is crucial in his development. So speaking of that too, like I don't think we've seen Chip Lindsey's full potential in the offense. I think that is still being kind of handcuffed yet. So what's offensively from this year to last season? What has actually changed besides Chip Lindsey and Bryce Underwood? We still have the same head coach. I still think Sharon Moore, like him as a head coach. Before you say, well, I think he should get fired. Well, right now, who the hell are you going to get? And he's not going to get fired. And I don't want him to get fired right now. We got
Well,
to give him a little bit more time here. If we don't make the playoffs next year in a third year, we can really start having more conversations then at that point. Those are going to be some difficult discussions.
right.
I just don't think we've seen from him coming from North Carolina, Chip Lindsey, and seeing this. I think Sharon Moore's still living in 21, 22, and 23.
Correct.
We
I
need to
agree.
let Chip Lindsey run the full offense. Sharon Moore needs to let go because anytime he answers to it, still has a hand on it. I think he's got a couple. I think he's got two hands on it. But speaking of Bryce, I want to see a specific quarterback coach for Bryce Underwood. I know I don't shut up about Joe Sloan from LSU. It's out of the question anyways. He's Kentucky bound. He's not just going to come and be, not be an offensive coordinator and just a quarterback coach. That's not going to happen anyways. I'm not saying Chip Lindsey isn't the right guy with, especially with developing Drake May, but a little assistance, another coach assisting with Chip with developing Bryce Underwood would not hurt at all. I think this would be a home run hire, whoever we get. I mean, anyways, firing Chip right now would be absolutely stupid. He's only had 1 year, and I think he's, like I said, he's been handcuffed. It would completely cripple Bryce Underwood at that point. This is basic math, though.
Correct.
You hired Chip to do his job. Let him do the job. You got Bryce Underwood for a ton of money. Let him pass the damn ball. Take some shots deep. Let him make more mistakes. It doesn't matter. It's just development. But I want to see a specific quarterback coach and or some type of pass game specialist to come in and assist Chip with Bryce Underwood's progression and development. I think we definitely need that. I mean, Chip's in his first year at a different program. Like, I think this is a must. I think this is absolutely a must. If we do not do this, I'm going to be seriously pissed off because
Yeah.
there should be other coaching changes and firings coming as well too. Sharon Moore, no. Chip Lindsey, no. Other coaches that we might talk about, Justin Tress, probably another one of them. This team just lacks discipline the last 2 years. Like things need to change. It's your third year. You need to make the playoffs. Yes, you're going to have another younger team. You need staff changes, and you need to hit the portal hard.
Well, one thing that's going to play a big factor is who stays and who goes when it comes to this year. So Jair Hill and Zeke Berry, for example, they both have they both have more eligibility left.
Yeah.
Has either of them built up a good enough case to go to the NFL and to get drafted? Right. So could one of them jump? For sure.
They could, but they're just gonna get beat by a double move.
Right.
I mean, like we need secondary players as well too. Which
but
we got a lot of guys coming back, but
we do have a lot of guys coming back, but still, to your point, right? So there's always going to be a contingent of every fan base, not just the Michigan fan base, that targets coaches and firing coaches, and I think that it's a fair question to say we are Michigan, and where does Sharon Moore rank compared to other coaches in the Big Ten? And some other teams that have just hired some head coaches made pretty good hires. Right. So I liked Pat Fitzgerald at Northwestern. I always liked him. I always thought he was a good coach. I always
One and
thought that
nine,
he,
1-9 against Michigan.
yeah, well,
Tossing a
significant
lot of money around right now.
significant talent gap that he was tasked with trying to win with though
Absolutely, still a good
at
coach.
Northwestern. And then Matt Campbell going to Penn State, right? So it's a fair criticism and assessment for people to say we're Michigan. Where does our head coach rank compared to other coaches in the Big Ten? But to your point, I mean, Michigan went 9-3 with their uh, true freshman quarterback and a true freshman wide receiver as their two offensive playmakers outside of the running back position. That was a redshirt freshman in Jordan Marshall that was making the impact that he made. Three redshirt freshmen starting across the offensive line by the end of the year. There's a lot of youth on this team, and we still ended up going 9-3, right? But now look ahead to next year,
Agreed.
right? Look ahead to next year. Our schedule next year is much more challenging than what it was this year. So we got Oklahoma again next year. We've got Indiana on the schedule. We got Iowa at home, but Iowa's never a pushover. We've got Penn State, and yes, they're coming off of a bad season where they fired their head coach, and there could be a little bit of a rebuild, but they made a good hire. So that's not necessarily a easy game on the schedule. And then at Oregon and at Ohio State. So next year, so it's fair. Criticisms against Sharon Moore are fair, saying when he plays somebody that is a better team than them, what has he shown in his ability to compete? And over the last 2 years, he hasn't really. And next year, a poor coaching performance year in the sophomore campaign. So we youth is gone after people become sophomores in a sense, right? So we're not going to have all of those true freshman, redshirt freshman excuses next year. We got people that got a lot of experience. Yeah, they might still be Andrew Marsh and Bryce Underwood might be true sophomores still, but they've got a full season under their belt, full off season under their belt, playing at this level, a full year and a half in the strength and conditioning program. There's not going to if we end up having several losses next year, it probably is the end of the Sharon Moore era. If we can't win games against tough teams that are equal or better talent than what we have, just talent versus talent, next year is probably going to be the final year. Now, if we break through and if we go through that schedule next year and we have another 9-win season, and we're 9-3 again and lose to Ohio State, people are going to want Sharon Moore fired. He's probably not going to get fired for going 9-3. That's, I
think it's just
Ward Manuel is not going to do that unless your name's Jim Harbaugh.
We could talk, yeah, right. We could talk about that too, but we could also talk about like the development side with the talent that you have as well.
Yeah.
So that's another issue with Sharon Moore. Besides the clock management, that's
got to get
makes
better.
No sense. But yes, you're at Michigan. You're here to win championships. You're not here for good records. I think if he does not make the playoffs next year, he's gone. I don't want to see him gone. I want him as our head coach. He's a hell of a recruiter, great guy, but we're here to win championships. You're not here to play for good records. So besides the clock management, my big thing with him, and it's not just him, it's the staff. We just talked about it a little bit ago. I think there needs to be a specific quarterback coach and a pass game specialist to come in to assist Chip Lindsey so he can focus on his shit and focus on Bryce's progression and development. Development is questionable. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. We have young players. Our age average was the youngest in the Big Ten at 20.54. I get it. But we've seen some players progress. But as a team, discipline, communication, missed tackles. I don't know. You watched a lot of the games the last couple of years. It's just not there for me. This has to improve. This is my number one focal point for next year. You got to change your staff up. This is not an interim development program where a new coach is just going to take over at Michigan and be successful. You need to get experienced players, but even with the recruiting class that we're having come in, the young offense we're still going to have next year with experience. I get that. But there has to be progression with the talent that you have. I don't care how young they are. I could care less. You have the talent. You need progression. You need development. And under Sherwin Moore, I have not seen that the last 2 years. He needs to go find experience in the portal. Wide receiver, is the main focal point. One or two experienced receivers. Defensive line, especially at the edge position, is going to be critical. We need to have a capable pass rush against good teams. That has to happen for the defense to be successful. That being said, development is my big issue with this staff. You have to have it. And I'm not seeing it right now. I'm not seeing progression in certain players. This is critical for next season. So we can talk about a 9-win season. Maybe he gets fired. Maybe he doesn't. What if he doesn't make the playoffs? There's youth there. I get that. But my point is, everyone, and Derek, it's not the wins and the losses for me. I want to win every freaking game. I get that. My thing is, how have we played? Look at the last 2 years, people. How have we played in certain games against teams that we should be blowing out even with the youth? Okay, youth versus talent, like I said. Be honest with yourself, have you seen the development? I have not seen the development under Coach Moore. Yes, this falls on him. Does it fall on his staff? Yes, but you need to start making some home run hires. You should be looking at the portal. We can talk about the transfer portal all day. But you're not going to get anywhere with the progression and the development if you don't hire an experienced staff, and we don't have that right now. So besides the portal, Derek, I get it. That is a big point right now. We got to hit the portal hard. Everyone's going to be talking about the portal. Everyone's going to be talking about an experienced wide receiver. It doesn't mean shit to me unless you change your staff up and get an experienced staff. That is my number one focal point for this offseason. You have to get better coaches. I'm not seeing the progression the last 2 years. I'm not seeing it. And do you want to waste another year of Bryce's talent? Do we want to do that? Or do we want to go get an assistant coach that'll help out Chip Lindsey, a pass game coordinator, a specialist, and a quarterback coach specifically for him, and then do an overhaul on coaches? That, I think, is the number one topic over the portal. We need the portal. I get it. But coaching is my number one thing this offseason. Have to have
Agreed.
it. We don't have it right now.
Brian put a comment in here. All you have to do is look at his record against top 20 teams. Unacceptable at Michigan. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. And we're highlighting the schedule for next year. If we played that schedule this year, we're not a 9-win team. We don't win nine games against next year's schedule this year.
And we could talk about Jim too early on as well too. So I want to be fair. I know what Sherrod Moore's going in, but it's how we played though. It's how we played. That's my point. So Brian, that's my point. It's not the wins and the losses for me. I look at the game to look at the game. How are we playing? How are we progressing throughout the season? How's that development look at certain position groups? And I'm not seeing it. The only game we saw that was Maryland. It's the only game we saw that in last year. That has to be a focal point.
The difference, I think, between Jim Harbaugh early on and Sherrod Moore early on is Sherrod Moore took over a program that just won the national championship. Jim Harbaugh took over a program that went, what were they, 3-8 the previous year? They lost to Rutgers. So completely different states of the program that they took over. Couple other comments here to get to. Max had commented, you guys come into Florida, you can stay at my house. Unfortunately,
I wish, man.
No. Unfortunately, no. Smash the numbers, just joined, liked, and subscribed. Good luck to you. Thank you. Absolutely appreciate it. Tune in every
It's
week. We'll be
Thank you,
hopping on
appreciate it.
and doing a live podcast. And speaking of a live podcast, couple questions. So, did Bryce end up choosing run instead of pass with the RPOs? Will those be passed in 2025? I thought he executed RPOs pretty well. There may have been some times. I would like to see just some better designed run plays, just in or better designed pass plays, just in general for him. The RPO game is going to be the RPO game, and I like it. I like having them mixed in, but I would like to see better designed drop back passing, and I would like to see him grow into a better drop back passer that understands pocket presence a little bit more. And that isn't so rushed trying to read the defense. I would like to see him get more depth in his drops, so that he can not feel pressure so quickly, so that the pocket doesn't feel like it's collapsing, and then go through multiple progressions before making a decision.
It's a two-way street right there. So I mean, a lot of on the offensive side, Chip Lindsey and Sharon Moore, yeah, maybe the formations could be a little bit more creative. Maybe we could strategize and get more creative as well too. But at the same time, like Bryce, yeah, he missed some wide open throws. Yeah, he read the RPO wrong and he threw the ball and threw an interception. But like I said, it all goes back to development for sure. But yeah, good question. Really good
Yeah,
question.
another question: how good will Babalola be next year? Can he be a difference maker after his injury and
He's
without reps his freshman year? It would it
competing. He's competing
he
against Evan Link last year. So I mean,
yeah he had a
yeah, go
good
ahead.
chance to start. He had a good chance to start
Yeah.
right out the gates this year. I think he can be, just because it sounded like from most of the reports that were coming through the summer and through camp is that he's just a different breed. So I'm hoping so.
Yes.
We should, in theory, I know we hear this all the time. I know we heard it all coming into this year, but we should have good depth on the offensive line next year and a lot of
Yes.
reps and experience now on the offensive line.
Yeah.
Jeremy,
Another one.
coaching
Good question.
coaching needs a major rebuild. Time to reestablish discipline.
Yeah. I mean, we just talked about that. I mean, it's kind of crucial right now. You can get portal players and get experience, but where's the development for our future seasons? Not seeing it.
All right, smash the numbers again. I believe Bryce himself was conservative with RPOs. Is that on the coaches or is that experience? Probably a little bit of both.
Both.
I feel like, and this is
Yeah.
something, not to try and continue to knock Sharon more, but I feel like his approach is don't make mistakes versus let yourself go. Right, and so so if there was a conservative approach to it, I think that it was
Conservative.
coached into him that it's a bigger deal to not make a mistake than it is to make a play. Right, and so if he was holding back because he wanted to not make mistakes, I think that's on coaching. Also, 17 years old, playing at this speed of the game, reading the speed of the defense. Well, 18 once the season started, but 18 years old trying to do that. There's probably an experience element to that as well.
Absolutely. It's both. Two-way street.
So bowl season is here basically, and if there's something, I'm a very optimistic person, so I'll always look at the bright side of everything. Being able to basically get a training camp in the winter, a training camp in the spring, and a training camp in the summer. We could certainly use it. Our coaches could certainly use it. Our young
Yes.
players could certainly use it. Guys that are gonna look to show that they deserve a spot on the team next year and don't need to be replaced via the transfer portal could use it. So we're going into a bowl season for the Citrus Bowl here, and yeah, I don't know. I personally don't care so much about what happens in bowl games. I'm more interested to hear what happens in the weeks of practice and who's starting to separate themselves and who's looking to enter the transfer portal.
The early enrollees and yeah, just the
Early
actual.
enrollees,
I mean,
yeah,
you still want to see prep from the coach and coach a game,
for
which they're
sure.
going to do, which I think they think they're doing sometimes, but yeah, it just needs to be better
We'll be
in
we'll be playing
general.
against we'll be playing against an SEC team, which my guess is it's going to be Texas. We'll find out by the time that some people are listening to this podcast, we'll know for sure who it is because it's going to be announced soon.
Watch
But
them screw Texas and they'll put Bama and they purposely drop them to a 9 just so they could drop them to a 12 or 11 or something.
Yeah,
It's an
but
absolute joke.
at
But
the
yeah,
same
we'll get
time,
Texas, I'm sure.
Alabama deserves to make the playoff more than Miami or Notre Dame does. Alabama should not
Or
be
Notre Dame for sure.
right, and
Absolutely.
Miami. Notre Dame and Miami were at home watching football this weekend. Alabama beat Georgia earlier in the year and earned their way into a conference championship game. They shouldn't be punished for having to play in a conference championship game, while teams that didn't get rewarded. So I'm
They
fine with
should have played
Alabama.
better. Should have played better and
Yeah,
not
but
scored
still,
at the fourth quarter.
if that's
I
an
mean,
elimination game, if conference championship games are an
yeah,
elimination game to get into the playoff for teams that are considered a lock to get into the playoffs, why would they even want to go play them? Right? Like it should not be better to not play in a conference championship game than it is to earn your way into a conference championship game.
you can say
Miami played
Texas.
Duke. Duke won the ACC. That's how
West
bad the
Virginia.
ACC is. Duke won
They
the
suck.
ACC conference. So to say that Miami, for people that say Miami deserves to get in, and Miami will get in because it's going to come down to Miami and Notre Dame, and Miami deserves it more than Notre Dame because they beat Notre Dame. So
Yes.
that
Notre
that
Dame,
has to
without playing
matter.
in a conference, yeah, and playing, yeah, two ranked teams and you lost to them as well, too. Like, I get it on the road or whatever, but regardless, Notre Dame should not be in the playoffs. Should not be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be
So yeah,
interesting. It's going to be interesting. Three lost teams, but strength of schedule.
yeah, it will be. I
Yeah,
mean,
mine
I would
too.
make the same. I would make the same argument for BYU that if BYU was considered in the top 12 before the conference championship game,
Man,
they're
I
gonna be
don't.
punished. They got shit on, but
They should
again,
not be in. They should. BYU should not. They lost to their ranked opponents. They lost to Texas Tech twice. They really had a weak tit schedule this year. I don't
well,
think
they
BYU
did
should be in. They're going off they're going off outside of record. If they're going off a strength of schedule, BYU should not get it.
right.
Should
I
not get it.
think, and we've talked about this before, and I was talking in a text message thread yesterday about it. The thing that I absolutely still hate about our the college football playoff system is it's still an
Oh
invitation.
yeah.
It's still. I think what needs to happen and what might happen in the future is that all of the non-power four conferences are just going to have their own playoff system. They can schedule power four conference teams and play against them, but come playoffs they're going to have their own playoff system because nobody JMU and Tulane they don't
And
legitimately have a
JMU.
chance to win a national.
Yeah.
They're not going to legitimately have a chance to make a run through
They're not
several
many
rounds of
root
playing the
games
best
now.
teams. Yeah. So every other conference outside of the Power Four has no shot at a national championship, and I
It's
think
just
that what
not
it
an
should be
even
then,
playing. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
and what it should be, college sports is the only sport, the only major sport that it's not clear cut black and white. Here's the criteria, and here's who qualifies for the playoffs. Every other sport playoff system has a clear cut. You know who is going to be in the playoffs, and I think that what it should get to, and this is my opinion, but is that there should be a 16 team playoff and the top four teams from each of the Power Four conferences get in, but they have to play each other first. So you've got like the top four teams in the Big
Playing.
Ten, the
Yeah.
SEC, the ACC, and the Big
Yep.
12, and number one seed in the Big Ten plays the number four seed, and two plays number three, and then the winners play each other, and the winner of that game is the conference champ. So this is all considered the playoffs, but it's just the conferences play each other, and then once you get to the Final Four, you've got the conference champions of each of the Power Four conferences that are still left standing. Right?
Yes.
That
You
would
can
be
do it
that would
right
be exciting.
now.
It would be clear cut. We know who the top four teams are in every conference because
Yeah.
those standings are there's tiebreakers in place to figure out who gets fourth place. It's not a come in and talk about this and ultimately decide Alabama gets treated differently than BYU because they make us more money.
It's because
Right.
that's how it is right now too.
Right.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Unless you're gonna kick off the SEC and the Big Ten with dropping teams and then getting teams that like have the NIL and the revenue sharing and making a super conference basically between the two of an NFC and AFC. It's not going to happen for a while. Eventually, you're facing the inevitable. That will happen. It'll be a semi-pro league. But I like your structure of the college football playoff, including the conference championships as the first round. Just put a gap in between the last game of the regular season. You already know those fucking teams are going to be ending up playing each other anyways. You might as well just include it in the first round at that point then.
Yeah. And if you do it that way, you avoid, because I always thought it was kind of, I never really liked when like Alabama and Georgia would play each other in the national championship, right? When you've got two teams from the same conference that are potentially playing for a third time in the same season because they play in the regular season and they play in the conference championship game and then they play again for a national championship.
It
waters
like
it down.
NFC versus the NFC. Like this isn't
right. Exactly. Exactly. It's like the Packers and the Bears, or the Bears and the Lions. Playing in the
even the Packers Bears would be sick. We're gonna beat them today, by the way, because the Bears suck. But anyways, like it needs to be eventually. It needs to be structured into an actual NFC, AFC, Big Ten, SEC type of deal. Like it is gonna happen at some point. We've been talking about this for years.
Yeah.
And I think it needs to be structured that way. So you break it down, add the conference championships to the first round of the playoff, facing the inevitable of like them playing each other anyways again. You might as well just include it in the first level or the first round. And then you get to the point where you're going to have two different conferences playing together in the championship. So
yeah, for sure.
So conferences will be used up, but yeah, ACC is absolute garbage.
Yes.
They're trash.
All right, let's jump here and talk Michigan basketball a little bit. So Michigan basketball is on fire. Absolutely fucking on fire. So started Big Ten play with their third straight game scoring over 100 points. Their third time in the last 4 games beating their opponent by over 40. So these aren't teams like Oakland anymore that they're beating. Rutgers
sucks.
Rutgers not necessarily a tough opponent, but I just want to highlight one of the things that I absolutely love. So there's several guys that can contribute. Yaxel is a beast. Merez is a beast. Right? Like those two guys were absolutely huge additions. A reduction in turnovers is awesome. Like we're the number one, I believe number one team still in KenPom. Defensively, this is the first time in a long time that we've seen Michigan look so good on the defensive end. It is hard for teams to score inside, and our perimeter defense has been awesome. Just we're playing really, really good basketball. But my favorite thing, and I know you want to dive into some stuff, my favorite thing is that there is no lack of complacency, or there is no complacency right now. There is no lack of effort or enthusiasm. Coming off of winning 2 games by 40 and 1 game by 30 against San Diego State and Auburn and Gonzaga, and then having 9 days off and coming in to play Rutgers. They came in and it would have been so easy to be complacent, come in and play sloppy, turn the ball over a lot.
You can see that when I say the bench, I'm talking about the end of the bench. You still see that play, consistent, competitive play at the end of the bench. So we put in some of our bench, like Winters Grady, almost got into a fight, should have punched that guy. But
I didn't see that, by the way. I missed it.
I mean, you seem like we're putting in some of our bench players at 7 minutes and 21 seconds yesterday. And then 5 minutes, whatever, to go against Gonzaga. Number 12 Gonzaga at the time. Dude, it's absolutely right with the coaching. But yes, Michigan is good at basketball. You texted me that yesterday, Derek. 8-0 on the season, averaging more now than 93.7 points a game. The average margin of victory most recently is 37 points. That's like absolutely incredible. We've won our last 4 by a combined 151 points with the bench getting valuable playing time. Dude, this team is fucking scary. Opponents are having nightmares. They're biting their pillows. This team is crazy good right now. 3rd straight game with 50-plus points at the half. 3rd straight games with 100 points or more. 102 versus Auburn, 21 ranked at the time. 101 versus Gonzaga, 11 ranked at the time. 101 Rutgers, their cheeks, they're horrible, but still. Last time we had 3 consecutive games with 100 points or more was in 1989 I was one. The last time Michigan won a national championship in basketball with Glenn Rice. We have never had 4 straight games with 100 points or more. Looking to break that record against Villanova at home on Tuesday. Derek, you talked about him. Rez Johnson Jr., he's him. 22 points. Yax with 14 points and 8 rebounds. Trey, true freshman, native from Flint, Michigan, 13 points. Dude, let's talk about him for a few minutes. Gale. Dude, he's having a hell of a year. I know last year it's like, kind of like the dribbling or his ball handling skills and kind of shooting sometimes. Dude, he looks on it. Like he has progressed under Dusty May right now. Proud of him with 11 points. Case 11 points with three threes right next to each other. Cadeau 11 points with 9 assists, led the team in 9 assists, and Mara. I want to see him play a little bit better. Got a lot of rebounds in the second half, though. He led the team in that department with 11. So this is a really fun team to watch. You don't need to be a Michigan fan to enjoy college basketball. It's a fun watch. The visibility, the communication, the hold your breath alley-oops. Damn, that is like incredible. It's just insane how they can see the whole floor together. Unselfish play. They're fast-paced with minimizing turnovers. First look is always up the floor too. Derek, it looks like a freaking father-son duo playing catch outside at some point during the game because they don't need to dribble to move the damn ball. They're constantly visibility up the floor, up the floor. They just keep moving. The bench is deep. The coaching is consistent, like you said, throughout the players. Dusty May has done a really solid job in his second year. Transfers in the mix again, and this team, Derek, looks like they've played together since they were in the 5th fucking grade.
They
the
look
experience, they look solid. The experience and the mixed in with the younger guys, especially with Trey McKinney, is just a solid foundation from the walls to the roof. Fun watch. If you don't like watching college ball, go to therapy, rethink some shit, and watch some Michigan basketball because they are them. It's must watch TV. They are looking solid. And well, you played Rutgers. We're talking about the whole season in general. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing that I like is that they're not one-dimensional. So to start the game yesterday, I think they started like 0 for 10 from the 3-point line or something like that. They started out, they could not buy a 3-pointer. And it didn't matter because ultimately they ended up getting 52 points inside, 52 points in the paint. So the fact that they don't rely on one piece of the game, and once they saw the buckets falling in the paint, then there wasn't so much pressure anymore to try and drop the threes. So the fact that they're not one dimensional, that they can win in transition, that they can win on the defensive side of the court, which they kind of struggled last year. They're winning on the boards, which is huge.
And now this was a little tough at the beginning of the game, but I don't know if anyone did. You watch the Illinois-Tennessee game last night? I know the Big Ten championship was going on, but dude, at the end of the game, there was like 3 minutes left, and Tennessee could not get a defensive rebound. Illinois just like would wait until the last second. It hit the rim, shot clock restarted. They just got the ball back. It was like watching a high school basketball game in Wisconsin. There's no shot clock. It just literally just drained it, basically. But that was a really good competitive game, too.
Yeah. But, I mean, just basketball looks fantastic. They should hopefully be ranked number 1 here this week. I don't know how they're not going to be ranked number 1. It depends.
Dude, Arizona, man.
Arizona
looked good against Auburn last night. Duke just beat Michigan State and East.
Did they beat Auburn?
Landfill.
Did they beat Auburn by 40 though?
I don't know by 40, but I think they beat them pretty convincingly. Like even in the beginning,
I didn't see the score.
It wasn't close. Well, in the beginning, it wasn't close, but like
so we could potentially be number 2 still. But speaking of number one Michigan hockey went into East Lansing this weekend. So quick thoughts on that.
Yeah,
here.
Ann Arbor, it was a split. It went to Ann Arbor last night, Mazo. Yeah.
We went to East Lansing, won. State came to Ann Arbor and won, so we split with them.
That's Wisconsin, Michigan State, 2 solid teams split. Looked good one game, looked bad, up 1-0 last night. Not good the rest of the game, but
still, I mean, winter sports are going to be fun to watch. So we've got bowl prep to get through here, and then a bowl game to watch to get started with 2026.
Yeah.
And winter sports here are locked in. Number one, hockey should be number one. Michigan basketball, number one in our hearts at least. So it's going to be a fun year of winter sports, and I'm excited about it. So we'll have more. We'll have more to come.
We talked about this before. I mean, as Michigan fans, like, yeah, it's a football school. We get that. It's primarily like the work that we do on our Facebook page. We push the football program. It's primarily the work we do with podcasting as well, too. But what university has the number one program in basketball, number one program, a top program in basketball, a top program in hockey the last how many years? John Howard, a little iffy, but still. And women's basketball is good this year too. Other sports that I know that we talk about here and there, we post on our Facebook group. But then football, you know, yeah, we're hitting a rough patch right now, but guess what? It could be a lot worse. Like, what fans of what university have that problem right now? We have a good problem to have right now. We're always ranked high in a lot of sports. It's just getting to that last point. Could talk about hockey making three straight Frozen Fours without fucking making a national championship game with all the NHL talent that we had, but this team looks consistent. Yes, we split the series versus Wisconsin. Yes, we split the series versus Michigan State. But those three teams, including Michigan, are extremely tough in the Big Ten. Derek and I will be going down to Madison February 20th and February 21st to watch both games in Madison, Wisconsin, as Michigan takes on the Badgers. So if you want to meet us, grab your tickets. Derek will buy you a beer. It'll be a good time.
I'll probably buy you a beer because Jason will spill his on you if previous events are are indicators.
It happens.
It does happen.
Keep your distance. It's fine.
Thank you to everyone that tuned in. Be sure to give this YouTube channel. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. Be sure to give us a like and a subscribe. But we appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate your comments. We appreciate the continued back and forth. We're a fan podcast by fans for fans, so appreciate all that. But in lieu of Dre being here, I'll paraphrase Dre to finish up. Love one another, respect one another, and always go blue.